On today's episode of Watch Chair Go, we actually start replacing some of the parts on the 65 F100. This was my grandpa's truck. If you haven't seen the story, you should probably watch that. Please subscribe, jump back to the earlier videos, check them out, and get caught up on the whole saga. What is going on, guys? I am Watch Chair Go, and like I said, here we are today with the 65 F100, and there are some parts here. No, that head unit's not going in it, don't worry. That was just extra parts, but this entire stack here is just for the truck. And today, I think we're gonna kick it off with these, just to clear a little bit of room out of here. Those are the front and rear performance shocks. These are KYB gas adjusts. Let's see, we've got a KG5419. I'll have to look up which one's front and which one's rear. Same. And the other one, almost dropped it, is a KG5406. So I gotta look up which one's which. I think it'll be a really quick job to go ahead and get those done and finally get under the truck and see what transmission's in it. We thought it was a C4. We did find out that if it's an FE, especially a 392, it's probably not a C4, it's a C5 or a C6. I need to take a look at the pan on the transmission so we can figure out which one it is, and then we can go from there. We had a trans kit ordered to rebuild it, and then that didn't come in because you know, shipping delays, logistics, all that fun stuff right now. So we got to figure out exactly what we need again, and then try to get that ordered again. But I'm going to start with the shocks today. It's the easiest part, and we have a new intake here, an Edelbrock 7105, which is an RPM Performer, dual plane. Really excited about that. We have to get that milled before we can use it with the Holley Sniper. A lot of things have to come together to get that intake milled the way I want. I don't want to do it with the Dremel tool. I know most people do. I know it's fine, but we actually have a mill, so why not clamp the intake up and then you know, bring that thing down and just shave off the exact amount Holley wants pulled out of the intake. I am so ready to get started on this because the truck's going to drive like it's brand new, and we think we're going to gain probably 50 horsepower. I'd love to have dyno runs to prove all this, but I don't want to make full pulls with that exhaust leak. It's blasting all the exhaust right on the power steering pump, and we have to drive all the way across town to get it on the dyno. So after the fact, hopefully we'll get it on the dyno.
All right, going under the 65 Ford, that was a mistake. Just put my hair in all that oil on that cross member. We have the transmission pan is the L-shaped pan. I don't remember which transmission that is, but it's also what defines the C4 from the C6 and maybe the C5 as well. We'll have to look that up. We've got some 2-foot long glass packs back here that give it an awesome sound. And back here we have what appears to be some really old Monroes, completely beat. It looks like they'll come out very easily though. There's just 2 bolts like always. The bushings are shot, the shocks are shot. Get that fixed. Looks like the rear is leaking a little bit right there at the front.
And the reason we're changing the shocks, of course, is because they are shot. It looks like a trampoline that just keeps on going after the fact here. It's kind of fun. I mean, when it goes through bumps, it's like, and you gotta wait for the truck to settle down, but I think these shocks are gonna straighten that out really, really fast. So let's get busy. It's just 4 bolts, and we probably pull the front wheels to make life easy. The rear, there's no reason. Just slide under with your creeper and get to work.
All right, got the bottom out. Better believe these old Super 500s fought us on the way out. They've been on there for so many years. That brass bushing tried to stay on there. I had to work that off, and the rubber came apart, but hey, it's finally off. New one's ready to go on. Typical of working on cars, getting those 2 shocks out was not that big of a deal, but of course the bushing stayed on and I had to rip those off, and this one got broken in half, had to break out the vice grips, good times. The new ones are on and they are so much nicer, so much better engineered. They have retainers that keep them centered and all this stuff. I think the rear end is probably 1,000 times better already. Let's give it a bounce, see what happens here. That feels completely different. I don't think I can compress the springs enough even. Wow. Cool. Well, now we have rear shocks that rock. Let's get some fronts done. Here's our replacement front shocks. They are the KG5406, like I said. Much different because it has the bolt through design on it. All you gotta do, slide under, of course, 2 bolts again, pull it off the top, pull the bolt out of the bottom bushing, and go from there. So I'm gonna get under there, get to work. Kind of tough to see. There's the old shock right there. It's covered in oil because you can see they've They're completely blown out.
I gave in and pulled the wheel off. It's so much easier to get to the top of the shock, and if you got to pull that jam nut off, it helps to be able to get 2 arms in there. So jacked it up, jack stand under it. Of course, everything's rested together, so plan on like 40 minutes of doing this with vice grips. Once you get the jam nut off, a ratchet wrench helps tremendously, as you would expect. All right, success. Old shocks finally coming out. Wow, those were beat. Put this washer on here, put the rubber isolator on, slide the shock body or tube back into the hole. The rubber isolator actually locates it in there. And then put the top one on, put the top washer on, put the nut on, start tightening everything down, and then make sure you put the jam nut on once everything is assembled. Using a screwdriver to pry the shock into the correct position, hitting my head on the spring, all the good usual things. There's the bottom and the top. So all that's left now, ratcheting this thing down and tightening everything up. Super easy. Bottom one's going on the easy way. All right, driver's side finally coming off. It turned out it was a nightmare. So that one was probably 5 times harder than the other one. It required lots and lots of cranking with vice grips holding the body just to get that done. So pop the vice grips off, big bang, everything falls down. You guys can see just how oil covered these are. They had blown out basically every single ounce of oil. So new ones, I mean, I hope this completely changes the truck. And the driver's side is all wrapped up. That looks much better. Let's put the wheels on, see if the bounce is gone. Josh, you wanna do the bounce?
I do.
Wheels back on, torqued.
All about that bounce.
All the new shocks are in. Let's see if the trampoline effect's gone.
Oh.
It's like completely different.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I think it's better. I'm excited to drive it.
Dude, that's so much better.
You could literally just push on it with like one hand before. Oh man.
It's so firm now.
I think we fixed it. This was the performance upgrade.
Nice.
It might ride a little stiff instead of riding like a cloud now.
You know, that's not light and that's aluminum.
Is it really?
I can only imagine what that's.
How much the cast iron one weighs?
Yeah.
Whoa, that is beautiful. Man, I am super excited.
Check out those port sizes.
Yeah, those ports are probably sick. Oh, it was like saran wrap
No
down.
match for me.
No match for muscle. Sweet.
Wow, there's a lot of room to go on
A
those.
lot of room to
If you're
go.
buying some cool Kazi heads or something,
You could just go up forever.
really open those up.
Man, now here you are like Kazi heads. No, I'm not spending like 7 grand on heads. Okay, so the rest of our video today, we need to take this and take about a 1/2 inch out of this, because when you switch to a Holley Sniper, if you have a dual plane intake instead of a single, this will mess with the map sensor in the Sniper. So what we're gonna do is try to take about a 1/2 inch out of this right here, square up that port a little bit, and that should make sure the map sensor is getting an equal draw from the engine, which is basically just a giant vacuum pump or compressor, basically just a pump sucking air through this intake, right? It'll make sure the map sensor can correctly read the amount of air flowing through this thing.
So as you can see, I think that's your idle air control.
Yep. And it sort of has, it's got these little passages right there that would sort of pass fuel across that, but even that is almost like it blocks off the IAC a little bit.
Right.
Because it lays right where the casting is there. Well, I guess this is all, it's cast, but milled.
Yep. Yeah, so ideally you'd want to just connect those ovals.
Absolutely.
Get rid of all this material here.
Yep.
Which is probably what we're going to do today.
Absolutely.
Just mill that straight across on both, and then you have to take a 1/2 inch of height off that
Boom.
to open up all 3 of these ports.
And then we should have a dual plane that lets us keep our drivability and have EFI to really give us drivability and just go from there.
You can throw a gasket on here
Wabsolutely.
and like make sure.
Oh,
See where it lands. Put the gasket on here.
It probably came with a gasket, I'd assume.
Maybe trace it on both so we know for sure.
Where to cut.
Yeah.
We went with the 4150 Stealth because it retains the trans kick down. That's the one thing we were looking for here. And well, we can see the magic happen, huh?
Got it.
Ha ha ha. Man, that's cool. I'm so excited about this.
Cool. And you can see the little holes
Yep.
milled all around the perimeter.
Where the fuel sprays.
It'll flood in a circle rather than one jet.
Super cool.
It's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, probably 18 to 20 orifices versus one jet.
And you can see the fuel injectors themselves right there. If you look way down in there, you can see they're just standard fuel injectors inside those things. There's one, there's one, there's one, and there's one. And I think this is the 60 pound a minute, right? We didn't want to do the 100, but we figured it was just way too much.
50 or 60.
50 or 60 pound an hour. So it's still a lot of fuel for an old truck like this that doesn't need that much.
Yeah, the math I did was 4 50-pound injectors would do 200 pound an hour, which would support 500 or 600 horsepower.
This thing says it'll do 600 horsepower, I think.
So that must be the 50 pound.
So I guess if we get bored, we can just turn up the truck. This stuff will support it. The rest of the truck won't quite support that kind of power yet.
That math was funny because it's literally like, how much does a pound of fuel weigh?
Right.
Times, it's like, oh, it's literal pounds. Not pounds of pressure, but
Yep.
like pounds of volume. It's funny.
Came with stickers, huh?
Of course.
Ooh, typical car guy. That's how they get you.
That's how you get faster, though.
Yeah, put the stickers on.
It's all part of the warranty package, I think.
Here's our new gasket from Holley. Grab it out of the box real quick. That looks like a good spot. Got it. If you want to do some drawing, we're going to quickly sketch where we want to cut. And in reality, we'll probably cut bigger than this. So this is a
our minimum cut line, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, then we'll transfer that.
The minimum cut line's almost perfect. We can come out another eighth. Honestly, I mean, if we just cut right there where the line is, it's perfect.
Yep.
Should work out very well.
The fear was like that line would have fallen on this passage.
Right, not worked.
Yep.
But no, it's easy.
Or on the back side of it, pressure would have bled through.
On that.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Well, it's time to go chuck this thing up in a vise and do a little cutting. Well, the aluminum looked incredible, so now it's been cleared, and we got some spider webs that already formed over the top there. Lots and lots of clear on there, which should make this thing look brand new kind of forever. We were talking about painting it forward blue, but honestly, the blues never match, and the blue discolors, and hopefully the clear just makes it look like virgin metal forever. So now it's time to go mill that thing. Well, I'm no machinist, but I think I've got that right where I want it. It's at .050, and it's got some nice milling marks in it and everything like that. Unfortunately, I love how pretty it is, but I think I might have to get in there with a sandpaper or something and kind of clean up that rough edge. Obviously, you want the airflow to be nice and smooth through the intake and not super rough the way I did it here. I wanted it to be pretty. It was kind of my goal, and then I was sitting here like, oh yeah, the rest of this is all smooth. No wonders everyone does it with a Dremel tool instead of doing it the right way. So whatever, I'll go tear up my work now with maybe a round sanding disc and just run it down each edge until that's nice and smooth, and it's more of like a smooth knife blade instead of a hard edge like that. It's very pretty though. Very pretty. The EFI prepped Edelbrock intake is ready to go on the truck, so I'm calling it here for today. It's already been a late night, and it took a long time to mill that running everything by hand. I didn't even let the motor run the axis. I just ran it all by hand because it's just easy and you can control the rate really well. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We will be concentrating on the F100 for a little bit this week. That way I can get all the EFI stuff on it. I'm so pumped. We had to order a new gear for the distributor. We have a steel gear, and of course that thing has like probably a cast iron cam, and it has to have a cast iron or a bronze gear. So we are overnighting the gear, and we're figuring out parts things as we go along. We kind of laid everything out today, took a look at it. Tomorrow you guys will get to see it all laid out, and we'll just keep working from there. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like I said, don't forget to head over to shopwashshare.com where you can get cool shirts like the one I'm probably wearing underneath this hoodie. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. A bunch of oil came out of the spindle when I started this thing up, and literally just sprayed oil all over me and in a huge circle around the mill. Oh, that was cool.